If you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Hey guys, I'm back. It's Monday, November 19th, and it's 8:29 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I was not here last night. I did warn you on Saturday that I didn't think that I would be able to do a show. Wasn't quite sure on Sunday, and I was not able to. I had a dinner to go to, and I was just so full that I just laid around and tried to digest myself. You know, like when snakes, eat like a great big meal and there's just like a big old ball in their belly and they just lie around for weeks digesting. Well, that's kind of how I feel even tonight, because I just made supper for my mother and my stepfather, and I am a chock full of mashed potatoes, gravy, and roast beef and apple crisp. And things look different when you're full of apple crisp, my friend. Yes, they do. I just had to let you see how serious I was by taking off my glasses. All right, I'm done with being strange for tonight. Let's get into the Q-related news. Yes, let's get into it right now. Let's just climb right in. That's not where I wanted to go. I'm so full, I can hardly think. All right, this is the first place that I wanted to go. Also, I wanted to remember to thank everyone that has either bought me coffee from time to time or joined me through Patreon. I am going to be doing something with Patreon as time goes on. I don't have a whole lot of people that have subscribed yet, but as I do, I think I'm going to be doing some live, what do you call that? Like live chats. That. All right. All right, let's get into this. Oh, also, yeah, we've got some t-shirts happening now. It's in the description box. I've got 2 up there now, and I know some people said to me about the Statue of Liberty and how it is symbolic. It's not what we think it is. It's actually, when you boil it all down, it's actually Lucifer. But anyway, this is how I look at that, okay? Just so you'll know. I also carry American money when I'm in the States. I carry Canadian money when I'm here, but all of you probably carry a bit of American cash around with you. Well, if you slap that cash in your hand, no matter what denomination it is, and look at it, it is full of pagan symbols. Yes, it is. And if you're not aware of that, there's a lot of people on YouTube that get into that and do very, very good with that stuff. So you can check it out for yourself. So yeah, we can't really do too much without the dollar bill. So despite it having pagan symbols on it, we still carry it around in our wallet. And my point is that whether we like it or not, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of America's American freedom, American liberty, American justice. I mean, it just has been. So that's where I stand with all that. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that, and we're going to get into the news. Here we go. All right, now the first thing I wanted to show you, I picked up from Twitter, and I love this. It's a photo of the mayor of Tijuana, a city in Mexico, wears a Make Tijuana Great Again hat as they protest the caravan of illegal immigrants coming through. So the Mexicans have had enough now. They're saying, go home. We don't want you here. So, it's racist when we say that. When we say we want to protect our borders against these people, we're racist. What are they saying about the Mexicans? Are they saying the Mexicans are racist too? I'm a little bit curious about that. I want to know because, why aren't they being, put down in the mainstream media and everything? All these people that in Tijuana that want them to go home. And why do they want them to go home? Well, I can tell you why. Because these people are expecting to be fed and clothed and have a place to sleep and protected and everything else. It's costing the people a lot of money. And it's interesting because I saw, a short clip of a lady, and she's complaining because she got refried beans and some tortillas, and she's saying, look at this, we wouldn't even feed this to pigs. Well, if you had it so great at home, if you were feeding fried beans and tortillas to your pigs, you had, you must have had a pretty good life if you were eating that well. What did you expect? Really, what did you expect coming all this way and just, being at the mercy of the goodwill of others? What did you expect exactly? I don't know. But that didn't strike me the right way at all. Not at all. Yeah, when somebody gives you free food and you're saying, well, this is what we'd feed to the pigs, well, then go home then. Your pigs are eating well. Slaughter your pigs and have yourself a feast. Just saying. All right. So obviously, this is a little nod to Donald Trump, if you ask me, that this mayor is wearing this hat, Make Tijuana Great Again. I think that that's a little nod and a wink to Donald Trump. And you had other people, Mexicans, as far as I could see, saying, Donald Trump was right. This is an invasion. And they were shouting that. He was right. He is right. It is an invasion. And now the Mexicans are seeing it and saying, look, we don't want these people here. So there you go. Now, next I wanted to show you this. Here's our Spartacus, Cory Booker. My name is Cory Booker. I'm one of 13 Democratic senators who just voted against allowing Americans to get much cheaper drugs from Canada. But over the past 6 years, I have taken $267,000 from Big Pharma, so they got their money's worth. Yeah. Isn't it interesting how these people, they come into, Congress or the Senate or whatever, they're making, so much money, but then after they've been in office for a few years, they're suddenly millionaires. How does that happen? I'd like to know, because I was just thinking that when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was saying, I can't afford to be in D.C., and, my salary hasn't started yet, and so forth, and I don't think it does start until the first of the year. So she's right about that, and maybe she doesn't have money saved up that she can get an apartment. I understand that. I know a lot of, incoming, congresswomen or congressmen stay in their offices at first until they can get a place arranged in D.C. because they're expected to have a place in D.C. and back in the same area from which they were, elected. So I can understand that, but I got thinking, okay, $174,000. No, I know a lot of people say, oh, that's so much money. No, it isn't. It really isn't. Especially when you've got to maintain a residence in two places, and both of those places are extremely expensive. Now, I'm not defending her. I just got thinking, okay, if that was me, what situation would I be in? Newly elected, and I had to say, I'd probably be in the same position that she's in, because I would be like, wait a minute, I can afford my place here. I can't afford two places. So, from there, I was thinking, okay, how could I see myself if I was, say I was her, and I was making $174,000 a year and having to do two residences, plus you have to pay for your clothes and all, that stuff. As a woman, it costs money to get your hair done, all that stuff. It's just, it's more money if you're a woman. It just is. And your clothes and all that. And I'm thinking, okay, well, by the time she counts into, and I don't know if they're given travel allowance, clothes allowance, I don't know any of that stuff. But, I'm thinking, okay, could she possibly in a few years be a millionaire from that wage? And I thought, no. And I got thinking about myself. I'm like, okay, how could you, without doing anything illegally, how could you get that far that quick? And I started thinking about it, and I thought, I don't know. I mean, unless you're playing the stock market or, real estate or something. I don't know how you would get that rich, but they all do. They all do. Just about all of them. So how is that happening? They're all engaged in things that they shouldn't be. And it's not just the Democrats that are the swamp. We know that. The Republicans are there too, and they're being cleaned out too. So this is interesting. Speaking of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, oh, this poor girl. Somebody needs to watch Schoolhouse Rock. The 3 branches were taught in school in the 6th grade. Executive branch, legislative branch, and judicial branch. You are pretty and stupid is what New York elected. She's saying that to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because our little socialist friend said, if we work our butts off to make sure we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House. What? Yes, she really did say that. She really did. I did go out and look it up, like where she was actually saying that, because I thought, no, she didn't say that. Yeah, she did. She did. She did. Yeah, congratulations, New York. You just elected somebody who doesn't know what the 3 branches of government are. Yeah. Yes, you did. Good luck with that. Hope she does well for you. And then, this is interesting. This is probably going to become a nightly thing. I'm probably going to just go out there and grab the things she says every day. And we'll have a little Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, section. All right. When this country started, we did not operate on a capitalist economy. Really? Really? Okay. Yeah. And then down here you see the founding father saying, will somebody please get this girl a history book? Yeah, she could use a history book and some other stuff. Yeah, she could. Maybe they should hire a tutor for her before, government starts up in January, don't you think? I mean, if she were representing my, district, I'd be really embarrassed. I would. I wouldn't want to tell anybody where I lived. Honest, I wouldn't. And I'd probably be trying to get in touch with her and going, look, do you need a tutor? Seriously, she needs a tutor. She does. She needs one. Somebody tell her. Please, somebody tell this poor girl. It's embarrassing. All right. I mean, we all make mistakes at times. I've said things and people have corrected me and said, oh no, it's not that, it's this. And I've misspoke or whatever. We all make mistakes. But this is like every day with her. Like every day. All right. Now, this I'm going to show you, even though I don't want to. And I know you're saying, well, why wouldn't you want to? Well, because you'll see. You'll see. Are you ready? Here we go.
Immigration. 2006, Canada's population increased by 1.6 million. 1.2 of those.
So, from 2000, and it's going to go on beyond Canada, so this isn't a Canada thing. So, between 2001 and 2006, in 5 years, the population in Canada grew by 1.6 million. And that's a huge increase because Canada doesn't have a lot of people. And 80% of the people are along the U.S.-Canadian border because the further north you go, the more hostile the environment and the less people live. There's some indigenous communities up there, and there are some diehard, survival people. But really, yeah, the further north you go, the more hostile it gets. And it's very, very hard to make a living because you can't, the soil's frozen. You've got the Canadian Shield, the rocks and stuff. So anyway, 1.6 million, the population increased, but out of that 1.6 million, 1.2 were immigrants. Okay, so that is how Canada is getting almost all of its growth right now, is through immigration. Let's go on.
Immigration. In the United States, Islamic immigration. Of all population growth in Europe since 1990, 90% has been Islamic immigration.
90% of the immigration in Europe, 90% is Islamic immigration. It's a lot.
France, 1.8 children per family.
1.8 million, what is that?
Muslims, 8.1.
Yeah, okay, so it's in France, the average is 1.8 per family. And I know in Canada it was 1.2. I don't know what it is now for Canadians that were born here. I think the birth rate is really, really, really low. I think it's 1.2 per family, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. But anyways, in France, 1.8 per family. But if it's a Muslim family, it's 8.1 per family. So you can see we're being outpaced here rapidly, very rapidly, both in Canada, the US too. You guys are not immune from this at all. So
in southern France, traditionally one of the most populated church regions in the world, there are now more mosques than churches.
So southern France, which was a very, very, Christian area with a lot of churches, there's now more mosques than churches. That's what's happening here. Everywhere I go around this area that I grew up, and this area, my gosh, it was, this was just an all-white area. It's always been all-white because this area was started by the Empire Loyalists. The Empire Loyalists were people that came up from the States. They were, during the Revolutionary War, they were on the side of the king. They were loyal to the king. That's why they called them loyalists. Part of my heritage is Empire Loyalist, and the other part is Native. So I've got both. But anyway, that's where a lot of the people came from. They came up, they were Empire Loyalists, and this area had a lot of immigrants from Ireland, Britain, and places like that. Mainly the UK, huge influx, and they were given land for free to farm to get Canada going. So this area has been traditionally white all my life, always. And when I came back from living in the States, where I lived in the States for most of my adult life, when I came back this time, it was amazing because my mother was elderly. My brother had just passed away. I came back, and now, like, even in the small little towns around, there's mosques everywhere. And I'm like, when did this happen? When? I don't know. I would come home for Christmas and stuff, and I guess I just didn't pay attention because I only had a couple days and I'd have to fly back. But it's amazing. It's amazing. Now, I don't mind immigration. I don't. If they are being properly vetted and allowed in, which in Canada they are not being properly vetted, just rest assured that they're not. And I do have a problem when immigrants come and want to subvert our culture. And that is what is happening. Our culture is being subverted because they're not happy with, nativity scenes in the town square and Christmas trees and things like this. Is all so offensive to them. They find this so offensive. They find our religion offensive. Then I don't know why they would want to be here. Right? Anyway, let's go on here.
30% of children ages 20 and younger are Islamic.
30% of the children in France right now, age 20 or younger, are Islamic.
In the larger cities such as Nice, Marseille, and Paris, that number has grown to 45%.
The larger cities, 45%. 45%. And I'm showing you this for a reason, because I'm seeing a lot of this, and people are not, they're listening to the mainstream media that says if you're alarmed about this, you're a racist. No, it's not that, because you know what? Traditionally, people have come to this country, Canada, your country, my country, because I consider myself American. Now, they have come from other countries, and it's been a melting pot. In Canada, we call it a mosaic. People come and they add to the fabric of what Canada is, but they don't try to change what the fabric is. They add to it their own special brand of culture and flavor and so forth, all woven together into the fabric of what the society is. In the States, it's always been known as the melting pot. Doesn't matter where people come from in the world, they come to America, they melt into the culture, and they pick up and they embrace the culture that's there. That's what happened to me as a Canadian. Yes, we have very different culture. I know you think you don't, but we do have very different culture. And when I came to the States, I blended into that culture. I melted into it and eventually felt, you know what, this is my home. This is where I want to be. This is the land that I love. But that's not what happens with Islamic immigrants. It's not, we know that. They're not here to melt in. They're not here to become part of a piece of fabric of what makes a country a nation. No, they're here to take over and subvert. And they view their women as whores and to be raped, to be mistreated however they want, because if you're not a believer in Islam, then you are fair game, according to their book, their holy book. You're fair game to rape. And that's what's happening in mass numbers in Europe right now.
By 2027, 1 in 5 Frenchmen will be Muslim.
2027, that's not that far off. 1 in 5 in France will be Muslim.
In just 39 years, France will be an Islamic.
39 years. Now you think of that. Think about 39 years ago. That wasn't that long ago. It wasn't long ago at all. So in 39 years, if things progress as they're progressing, France will have completely fallen to it'll be an Islamic Republic. That's
Republic.
A lot to think about.
In the last 30 years, the Muslim population of Great Britain rose from 82,000 to 2.5 million, a 30-fold increase. There are over 1,000 mosques, many of them former churches. In the Netherlands, 50% of all newborns are Muslim, and in only 15 years, half of the
15 years, half of the population in the Netherlands will be Muslim. Like, these are things that are not getting out there.
population of the Netherlands will be Muslim. In Russia, there are over 23 million Muslims. That's 1 out of 5 Russians. 40% of the entire Russian army will be Islamic in just a few.
In a few years, 40% of the Russian army will be Islamic. You don't think of that when you think Russia, do you? You don't think that when you think Netherlands. You don't think that when you think France. But this is the new world. Yeah. I don't know how you put that genie back in the bottle, to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Few short years. Currently in Belgium, 25% of the population and 50% of all newborns are Muslim. The government of Belgium has stated 1/3 of all European children will be born to Muslim families by 2025, just 17 years away. The German government, the first to talk about this publicly, recently released a statement saying, "The fall in the German population can no longer be stopped. Its downward spiral is no longer reversible. It will be a Muslim state by the year."
And that's it for this video, but Germany's not even hiding it. They're not even hiding it anymore. They're saying it can't be reversed. We can't stop this. And we are going to be a Muslim state by 2050. And that's not that far off. It's really not. It may sound like it is, but it's not. So this is a problem that I don't think we are being made aware of as a country. They will never talk about this on the mainstream news, ever. You will never hear this from the mainstream news. In fact, if you say anything, you will be called a racist, and probably much worse. So I did want to show you guys that because I think it's very important, and let's get back to the news. Now, let's go take a look at this. I can't quite remember what it is, which is always a little bit dangerous. All right. Not really. I don't go out there looking at stuff that I shouldn't be anyway. Okay, now this is the back to the Mexican protester today in Tijuana on the caravan. Donald Trump was right. This is an invasion. What Donald Trump said was correct. This is an invasion. Crowd chants, "Get out, Hondurans. We do not want you here. Get out, Hondurans. We do not want you here." So let's listen to this.
Trump tenía la razón, es una invasión. Lo que dijo Donald Trump es verdad, es una invasión. Esto es lo que es. Y vienen más disque caravanas. Y solamente son terroristas. Esos son lo que son. Abran los ojos, México. Yo exhorto a todos los estados mexicanos que se levanten y empiecen a exigir los derechos que necesitamos aquí en nuestro país.
El artículo 33, que es la deportación. El artículo 33.
El artículo 33 de la deportación.
And of course, I speak some Spanish, but not enough to catch everything they're saying. Maybe you guys can, but we do know that they're saying, "Get out, Hondurans," and Donald Trump was right. And we know he was, because they're still insisting this is not an invasion. I don't know what else it would be. Plus, it enrages me when I see those young men climbing to the top of those barricades and standing there taunting the officers below. That is just beyond, it's just beyond my scope of reality, because I just cannot imagine being that brash. I really can't. Wow. I'd like to see them go to Europe and behave that way on some of those borders. Anyway, so let's go back and see what else we have to cover. Now, this I was a little bit surprised at, because I was doing some investigating different things this morning and finding different news items, and then later this evening, right before I started, I came across this and I went, "What? Again?" Apparently, Jim Costa has been banned again. That's what they're saying. Now, did I miss something today? I must have missed something. I don't know whether he misbehaved again. Somebody needs him to take him out back of the White House and spank him. That's what he needs. Oh, he'd probably enjoy that. Here's the full letter the White House sent CNN activist Jim Acosta banning him again. So this isn't from the first time. He's been banned again, and this is dated November 19th, which is today. So I've got to assume that this is brand new news. So there he is, looking a little whiny as usual. He's probably needing his diapers changed there. He looks like he's a little miserable there. So the full letter is as follows. We are writing to give you formal written notice that we've made a preliminary decision to suspend your hard pass due to your conduct at the President's November 7th, 2018 press conference. The President is aware of this preliminary decision and concurs. The factual basis for this preliminary decision to suspend your pass is as follows. As you know, President Trump has provided an extraordinary amount of access to journalists to ask questions while operating an extremely open and transparent White House. The White House does not have a written code of conduct for journalists participating in presidential press conferences. We had not previously thought that a set of formal rules for journalist behavior at press conferences was necessary. That is because it had previously been a widely shared understanding that 1. A journalist called upon to ask a question will ask a single question and, having received a response, will yield the floor unless at the discretion of the president or other White House official answering questions, a follow-up question or questions is permitted, after which follow-up the journalist will then yield the floor. And 2, when a journalist has had his or her questions answered, the journalist is expected to yield the floor and, when applicable, physically surrender any microphone the journalist is using to White House staff for use by the next questioner. 3 basic common sense practices are necessary for orderly press conferences that are fair to all journalists in attendance. They have served the public, the press, and the president well. Your behavior at a November 7th press conference violated the basic standards governing such events and is, in our preliminary judgment, sufficient factual basis to revoke your hard pass. While this is our preliminary decision, we would be pleased to consider any material you would like to submit in response to it. Should you wish to contest this preliminary decision or the factual basis set forth in this letter, please submit a written response to us in writing via email by 5 p.m. on Sunday, November 18th. Should you not submit a response by that time, this preliminary decision will be final. You may submit that response by emailing it to one or both of us. We are happy to consider that response and any other materials you would like to submit before a final decision is made in this matter. Should you choose to contest this preliminary decision and submit a written response to this formal notice, we will consider your written response and will issue you a final determination in writing 3 p.m. on Monday, November 19th, 2018. Of course, you will continue to maintain your hard pass while the temporary restraining order issued on November 16th remains in effect. CNN has vowed to continue fighting the ban. So, it is important to note that the same outlets defending Acosta, like the Daily Beast, actively worked to successfully have Breitbart and the Gateway Pundit banned from the Senate press gallery. So that is interesting, and it's interesting, I don't know, looking at what other people have said. The decision by the judge was flimsy and wrong, horrible judge, exactly, this is not free speech. Well, here's the thing. Remember we went over this, that really the judge, you know, how they were making it seem like the judge was forcing them to accept Jim Acosta back, when really that was not the case at all. And that shouldn't surprise us. When does the mainstream news ever get anything correct? They certainly did not have that correct. All the judge said basically was there had to be, he had to be notified in writing and so forth. Well, it's hysterical to me because obviously the White House just did exactly what the judge suggested they do, but still kicked him out. And I think that that's good because I don't see how they can have any productive meeting with Jim Acosta there. It's not possible. I mean, even on Easter, when I think it was Easter, and there was absolutely nothing political about the event whatsoever. And yet there was Jim Acosta yelling out things to the president about the caravan and how racist he was and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, there's little kids there looking for eggs. Like, are you kidding me? He doesn't get it. He does not get it. It should be limited. You know, I mean, they should limit him how much time he can spend around adults. I'm just saying. He's not able to behave properly in an adult setting, so I don't know. Maybe have him report for, maybe they should do a kids version of CNN, and maybe he could report for that. He'd probably do very well with kids. Just saying. Anyway. There we go. Jim Acosta, out. Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you on the back side. On your hinder parts. All right. Let's look at the next thing. And here, I don't know why, but I find this Snake Plissken, and yes, I did get the explanation of where that name came from. and thank you. But I do get a kick out of whoever this person actually is in real life, because I'm sure he's not the actor, but he does write some hysterical things, and he's fun to follow on Twitter. He said Hotel Transylvania runs in the 8 p.m. time slot on Nickelodeon. It beats CNN in the primetime ratings. I say it's high time we got Count Dracula at White House Press Pass. A White House Press Pass. He's also 85% less bloodthirsty than Hillary. By the way, the real Dracula, Vlad Dracula, would have kicked Acosta a new butthole. Yeah. Well, there you go. So maybe we do need to give Dracula a White House pass. It would be entertaining, at least. Yes, it would. All right. Now, this is interesting. Yes, it is. Now, if you don't find this interesting, then I don't know what to say about you. Oh, I have got cat hair in my eyes. I don't know why. I've been doing all my, I've been doing spring cleaning even though it's winter. I'm not sure why. Anyway, detective who exposed elite pedophile ring found dead. Police detective turned author killed after exposing government pedophilia network. Now, this is actually from August 26, but I'm just finding this now. A former police detective turned investigative author has been found dead just days after publishing a book that exposed a high-level government pedophile ring. 58-year-old Mark Mine was found with a bullet to his head on August 14th, but many people are refusing to believe the official police version that he committed suicide at his friend's farm near the coastal city of Port Elizabeth, South Africa. Mine's family is claiming that he would never kill himself, a point he had brought up with them, and that he feared people were after him because he was about to expose even more pedophilia. The highly respected, hang on here, I lost my place. The highly respected detective authored the controversial book, The Lost Boys of Bird Island, which was published on August 5th, 2018, and exposed shocking child abuse and corruption that he had witnessed while working on the police force. After leaving law enforcement, Mine devoted his post-police life to exposing the government-orchestrated child trafficking he discovered while working as a detective, but was previously blocked from investigating. Mine, along with his good friend Chris Stein, also a former cop turned investigative journalist, authored the book together to expose high-level government officials and powerful elites who took children to Bird Island where they were abused and murdered. How many times are we hearing these stories of children being taken to these private islands where they are murdered, and sometimes worse than murdered? And you know what I mean. It's beyond awful, and I don't even think that it's something that someone could think up by themselves. Like, I would never even think of that. Like if I thought, what could be a book I could write about something just horrific? That would not enter my mind, because it would now that we've been, exposed to Q and all the horrific things that we are aware of that's going on in the world. Yes, it enters my mind now, but we are hearing this more and more and more. There's Epstein Island. There's the guy that owns Virgin. His island, apparently. There's all these islands that are privately owned, and it makes me wonder, like, there must be a lot of this going on. There has to be a lot more than is ever being caught, and I don't know. Sometimes I want somebody to wake me up and tell me, you know what, you've been having the worst dream. I don't want to believe this is real. I want us to live in a world where our neighbors help neighbors, where if somebody moves in next door, you take them a pie, you take them some cookies. I know that sounds Pollyanna-ish, but where did that world go? Where did that world go? Where you didn't worry about what your neighbors were doing, or if they had somebody in a sex dungeon in their basement, or they were murdering people and stashing body parts and burying them in their backyard. And you know this stuff happens. It's like, did any of that ever cross your, I don't know how old you guys are, but those of you that are over maybe 40, did you ever think about things like that when you were a child? Did you ever have to think about things like that when you were a child? Not like that. I mean, yes, you might have worried about being, abused or bullied or whatever, but you didn't really worry about whether there was like a serial killer in your town. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I hope. I don't know. No, I actually hope that there are normal people out there that say, no, none of this is normal. None of this is right. It's horrific. Anyway, the level of involvement in the pedophile ring by the government was detailed in the book, along with reports on the abuse of victims, alleged acts of murder to cover up the crimes, and the corruption and exploitation of high-level state resources by the network's members. 9 days after Mark Mine exposed these crimes in his book, he was dead. I don't think that there is a coincidence there. I really don't. And I'd like to read that book if I could stand to read that book. I may have to look it up. It says the book details the corruption within the last apartheid government of South Africa and implicated officials all the way to the top, including Defense Minister Magnus Malan and the Minister of Environmental Affairs, John Wiley. Before his death, Minnie announced that he was approached by many, many more people with even more damning evidence, which he planned to reveal in a sequel of the book. However, he died before he could finish it. The book was published earlier this month on August 5th, and only 9 days later, Minnie would be found dead. Officials claim they found a suicide note at the scene, but the family says they don't believe it at all. I wouldn't believe it either, and it's awful. I don't know what to say to that, except that I can't wait until every last person that is harming children on this planet is put behind bars. I can't imagine anyone thinking it's okay to harm a child. I can't do it. I could not harm an animal. I could not harm a child. I could not. Corey Lynn. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I'm hearing this from all sorts of sources, that this person says, one, U.S. forces have taken control of the international airport in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Now, as soon as I heard that, I wondered what was going down there, and does it have anything to do with the Clinton Foundation? Because we know that there's a lot of crimes in Haiti, and not just from the Clintons either. So, interesting. I'm hearing this, and I keep hearing this, and I don't know, because I can't confirm it, I can't deny it. I don't know if you guys know anybody in Haiti that could confirm or deny this, I would really appreciate it. Put it in the comments below so that we can all be aware. And she says, I was receiving reports on this over the weekend while I was away, but there is more on this story not being reported on. Well, but what is it? She doesn't say. Oh, wait, maybe she does. Number 2, there was an alert put out on the 15th regarding large demonstrations planned for November 18 in Port-au-Prince and possibly other locations. I've scoured the internet and I'm not seeing the reports I'm receiving, which are far more concerning. And here, she said, Haiti, security alert. The embassy has received notice of large demonstrations planned for November 18th in Port-au-Prince and possibly other locations. Out of an abundance of caution, the embassy is requiring its American employees to shelter in place beginning at 12 p.m. on November 17th. So the State Department did offer a security alert and told its embassy employees to shelter in place. So that is pretty serious. I don't think that they would even issue that unless they had some, cognitive awareness that there was danger of some sort. So anyway, and then number 3, here are some reports I found on Twitter. They are verifying there are, in fact, U.S. troops on the ground in Haiti securing Port-au-Prince This is about far more than demonstrations. I have not found any news sources reporting on this, and I haven't either, because I've looked. Because as soon as I heard this, I started trying to either verify it or debunk it, but I can't. There just doesn't seem to be anybody reporting on it. So yeah, now let me see what this says. U.S. Army in Port-au-Prince. They do look like Americans to me, but I can't be certain this is Port-au-Prince. But it says U.S. Army in Port-au-Prince to protect the interests of the Americans and the government in case of coup d'etat for tomorrow, day of war for independence. So I guess the Haitians are, there may be a day of war for independence planned. And when was this tweeted? That was the 17th. So it was for the 18th planned. And I do know that people were reporting on the 18th that the U.S. Army was in Port-au-Prince. So I don't know. Don't know the veracity of that at all. People on the ground in Haiti tell me it's jumping off there. U.S. troops securing the Port-au-Prince airport. Possibly another coup on the island. Yes, and it wouldn't be the first one. But I don't know. I don't know what the U.S. is doing there, what their role is, except possibly trying to keep the peace. I don't know. But here is this. Number 4, Corey Lynn, whoever this person is, I just found them on Twitter. I am being told that the Michael Martelli, Jovenel Moise regime lapdogs of the Clintons, PHTK drug traffickers, have assassinated 50 people in the past 48 hours in the La Saline neighborhood of Port-au-Prince. Wow. So these are, I guess this regime is the one. They are the ones that were in the lap of the Clintons, when they came to traffic children and drugs, and we know that that's what they were doing and laundering money. They've assassinated 50 people in the past 48 hours. That's more than one an hour. That's a lot. So now she says this has all been reported on November 17th. So what is her latest post? When the date on her latest post, I'm trying to see. Don't know. Must be all the 17th. Anyway, this I hope that's not what I'm seeing. Random killings are also taking place all over the country. I was sent videos that I absolutely will not post due to how graphic they are. Instead, I took a screenshot from one of them. There are wild pigs eating the bodies of those killed. That's exactly what I thought I saw. Oh, that's awful. Okay, I gotta scoop past there fast because I really don't want that showing on my channel. That's horrific. I wish I hadn't seen that. I really do. The people of Haiti have long been protesting the theft of $3.8 billion by corrupt former and current government officials of Haiti, along with Bill and Hillary Clinton. Number 7, this money was low-interest loan by the government of Venezuela during the Chavez era to help the poor create jobs and well-needed infrastructure. It was stolen by the corrupt, and Jovenel Moise has done nothing about it. I am told these corrupt officials are all being protected by the Clintons as well as some members of the DNC, including Maxine Waters. I have also been told numerous times that Kenneth Merton from the U.S. State Department is corrupt. 9. The opposition is planning to topple the Haiti government on November 18th. My source says this is why the U.S. forces have taken over the airport in Port-au-Prince. Some seem to feel it is to protect Americans, while others feel it is to protect American interests. It could be both. 10. Meanwhile, Michael Martelli, longtime lapdog of the Clintons who played a big part in the theft of $3.8 billion, has fled to his home in South Florida for refuge while this attempted takeover of the government goes down on the 18th. Pray for Haiti. I will keep you posted. Wow. Did you guys know any of this was happening? Because I didn't. I knew that the U.S. government was there, and everybody is saying that, but I didn't know all this was going down, and this is serious. And to tell you the truth, it is in some ways connected to the Clintons, and I'm wondering if this is all part of taking down the cabal. I would assume yes, because if the people in charge of Haiti are the same people that were in charge when the Clintons were there and that were playing into the Clintons and, helping them get rich off the backs of the Haitians, then they need to come down. So maybe that's what's happening there. I don't know. I would assume so, to tell you the truth. For more information by Elizabeth Aziladanto, I don't know who this is, regarding what is happening in Haiti. Pray for the people of Haiti. Clinton-Obama installed right-wing PHTK paramilitary in Haiti, disguised as police, executed over 50 Haitians protesting embezzlement of development monies. So these governments, Venezuela for one, gave all this money to Haiti for development, for infrastructure, jobs, so forth, and it was embezzled. And of course, that's what happened with the Clinton Foundation as well. People gave billions there for the Haitians, but it never got to them, did it? No, it paid for a very nice wedding, though. So let's see if I can make this any bigger. Yes, I can. The Clinton colonial paramilitary in Haiti, disguised as police, executed over 50 innocent Haitians protesting the embezzlement of development monies. Then they had their enforcers burn up the bodies to destroy the evidence. Our sources indicate the criminals responsible include known PHTK House Negro criminals. Wow, this must have been written over there. This wouldn't have been written in the States. House Negro criminals such as Richard Duplan as well, it's alleged, Santil Fernell, Commissioner Principal de Police, responsible Boyd Duplan. I can't, some of this is in French. This note is for the intellectual authors of recent neocolonial massacres in La Saline, Saint de Die, Grand Ravine. Yeah, a lot of this is in Richard Duplan, the PHTK criminal, is alleged to have gone into the La Saline area with his gang of misogynist Clinton Bush bisexual Haiti men in pink. Disguised in police uniform, these pink terrorists went there and disseminated police outfits to paid mercenaries directed by the PHTK. Jewish Arab oligarchy neo-colonial forces in Haiti executed more than 50 people and left 2 mafia enforcers, Junior and Olisha, to complete their depraved works of burning the bodies and evidence. These terrorist actions are intended, obviously not reported by the fake news media, complicit with the Republican demon rat imperialistic war party, are intended to stop the taking down of the criminal enterprise that's going by the name of Haitian government, and to make sure to intimidate the populous areas against coming out en masse to protest on November 18th, 2018. The international oligarchs want to keep the Clinton colonial criminals, called legal bandits, who stole the Petro-Carib development monies, in power until 2022, when the core group of international criminals wearing suits and skins of legitimacy will then hold up the pillage, oppression, and exploitation of the poor people of Haiti through another fake United Nations OAS cholera election. Here's the terrorist handiwork, graphic photos. I'm not going there. So anyway, there is horrific things happening in Haiti, as there just about always are, and we should not just say, oh, well, it's always going on in Haiti, because this is very, very important, and I know it's part of Q taking down the cabal. So to me, this is just more evidence of Q, really, because isn't this what he said? We've known about all this stuff going on in Haiti for a very long time now because of Q. So it should not surprise any of us, even though it's horrific, and I don't think any of us delight in that happening to any human being. It's awful. It really is. And I hope and pray, I really pray that the Haitians get what they deserve. They need that money back that's been stolen from them, the land that's been stolen from them. It's time. It's more than time. So let's go on here. I know it's getting late, and I'm not going to go on too much longer because I don't want this to be too long. If it gets too long, I'd like to, split it into another video, but I think I can cover most of the important stuff. Now, I think this is interesting as well, and I wanted to mention it to you guys. Now, this person is responding to POTUS schedule, and that was for the 17th of November. Now, remember, he flew out to California to survey the damage from the Dew fires. And we all know that those fires are not naturally caused. We all know that, and it's an insult to our intelligence to suggest otherwise. It really is. So don't be putting stuff down there like, oh no, this was natural. No, because I know that you are a troll, and I just erase it. Because really, you have to be a special sort of somebody to think that all this was natural. Really. So anyway, I'm just saying. I don't, even people that don't agree with me, if I don't have the feeling that they're a troll, I just leave it, because you know what? That's great. I don't want everybody to agree with me because it's boring. But, when people are just saying things and okay, this is a paid troll, bye-bye. I just kick them off the channel. So anyway, so he was out there looking at these fires, and this person says, I just think this is very interesting. Air Force One is essentially a skiff, and it is. It's completely, you can't, there's no listening devices there. There's nothing, and it's completely protected. A skiff is I can never remember the first word of it. It's not a special compartmentalized information facility. It is not a specialized, it's a separate. I can never remember the first word, and it drives me insane. See, this is what I have to do because I'm so curious. I'm just curious, always curious. Sensitive, compartmentalized information facility. See, I always want to call it a separate compartmentalized, but separate and compartmentalized are the same thing. So maybe that's my way to remember it. Okay, anyway. So she's saying, what she's saying, I know you're saying, like, get to it. All right, I'm getting to it. Calm down. Just calm down. All right. She's saying, I think this is very interesting. Air Force One is essentially a skiff, and it is. And perhaps at POTUS needs to have a very direct and secured discussion with Brown and Newsom. Big things pending. Watch California. Because remember, Q said watch California. And what she's pointing out is that Air Force One is a skiff, essentially, and I believe that Brown and Newsom were on Air Force One. So what she's saying is, and I think that that's a reasonable, because we know what happened to Rosenstein. And see, I wasn't aware of it, and some people put it in the comments below, which I appreciate. I love you guys. They put it in the comments below that he had been taken aboard Air Force One, and people were kind of wondering because, Trump had a talk with him, and, there would have been no, recording equipment and things like that. So anyway, I guess she's kind of suggesting that may have happened with Brown and Newsom. But something that I found interesting, if you look at Trump and then these two men, you look at Brown and he looks nervous. I mean nervous, really nervous. He's like looking around, and he looks, I don't know, you check it out, you let me know what you think. It's what I think, it's what I saw, but not always right. All right. Now, this is interesting. A teacher in Missouri was just fired from his job for thanking his students for standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. An administrator claims it made others feel left out. Sad. We must be the only country in the world where students are taught to hate the country they live in. Yeah. Absolutely. No, actually, you're not the only country, because that's exactly what's happening in Canada right now. Exactly what's happening. We're being taught to hate our country too. And yeah, he was fired from that. He was fired for thanking the students for standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. When did you ever think that would happen? You wouldn't think it would happen in America, would you? But it did. And then there's this that I have to touch on just because I have to. So funny to see little Adam Shit, and that's exactly how he spelled it, S-C-H-I-T-T. Little Adam Shit talking about the fact that Acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker was not approved by the Senate, but not mentioning the fact that Bob Mueller, who is highly conflicted, was not approved by the Senate. Now, I think this is hysterical, and if you go out and you listen to Randy Quaid perform this tweet, it's hysterical. Now, maybe you don't have the same humor that I have. Like, I find things funny that probably other people don't. Yeah, but it's just, I think it's funny how Trump wrote this, because he said, but not mentioning the fact that Bob Mueller, who is highly conflicted, was not approved by the Senate. Go listen to Randy Quaid. Because that guy's really, he's a very, very good actor, and it's absolutely a shame that he's had to go through what he's gone through. You know, if you don't kowtow to Hollywood, big Hollywood, and you know what I mean by that, things don't go well for you. Just ask Roseanne Barr. And that's sad, because they've deprived us of a gifted comedian. They haven't just, they didn't just punish her. They punished everyone. Everyone. Oh, yes, they did. Oh, they punished her too. But they punished everyone else too, because now we're deprived of something that was grown in our country organically. She's organically American. You can just, she's American. She's as American as you get. And she's like a normal middle-class American. And she's funny. Now, but apparently we're not allowed to find her funny, because she said something bad about Valerie Jarrett, who nobody knew was black. Who knew? Really? I wouldn't have guessed. I really wouldn't have guessed. But anyway. So what is this that I'm looking at? Well, let's take a look, and pretty soon I gotta go here. All right, why won't mainstream media cover cult arrests? Well, that's a good question. Why won't they? Now, here, this is a Q post from March 28th of this year, and it gives us the link to the story, and it says Nancy Salzman, historical timeline, MS mainstream media will not highlight bottom to top unravel. Q. Now, when he's saying bottom to top unravel, he's talking about that cult, NXIVM, and it was a bottom to top unravel because the people that were arrested on the bottom informed on those that were over them. So they talked, yes. Now, okay, NBC. Okay, so this was on March 28th into April. By April 20th, no coverage on NBC, no coverage on ABC, no coverage on CBS. Well, that's odd, isn't it? Yes, I would think so. And then on January, February, March, April the 20th, this is when Q says Mac, and that's Allison Mack. She was the actress from Smallville. I've never seen Smallville, but apparently she is the actress from Smallville. And Q said Mac is naming names, big names in Hollywood, government, local, and federal. Proof. Then this is when he says the Standard Hotel, helicopter crash, all related. Now, Adam Schiff is the congressman for that area where the Standard Hotel is, just so you know. And he's kind of cozy with the Standard Hotel people. All related. Future will prove past. Adam Schiff. Feeling okay today? Why is the Mexican border, Long Beach port, so important? Well, the answer to that would be trafficking. Human trafficking. TikTok LLC Q. And Allison Mack was arrested Friday morning, April 20th. The NXIVM cult leader. And what do we have down here? Smallville ran 10 years, won 3 Emmys and numerous awards. Allison Mack won 2 Teen Choice Awards. But QAnon had her number before it was even out. He sure did. All right. Now, I'm not going to get into, well, let me do one more thing on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I know you're going, oh, but okay, just one more, all right? And then I think I'll leave this other stuff for later because I will have talked for an hour, and that's plenty long enough. You people are saying, please, shut up. Go away. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez declares war on white, moderate Democrats. So if you're white, moderate Democrat, she's at war with you. I wouldn't worry too much about it, really. She'd probably, throw a Nerf ball at you or something and call it a night. I don't see her, getting into anything too serious. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez backed an effort Saturday by a group called the Justice Democrats, which opposes Democratic incumbents who are demographically and ideologically out of touch with their districts. Okay, speaking of being out of touch with your district, Alexandria, anyway, the Justice Democrats helped Ocasio-Cortez oust veteran Representative Joe Crowley in a primary in New York's 14th Congressional District earlier this year. In a tweet, she supported the Justice Democrats' new Our Time campaign. If you're a strong progressive leader in your community and committed to getting money out of politics, I want you to join me in Congress. I want you to run. Getting money out of politics. Okay, that's what her goal is, apparently. To run in 2020 without corporate money, you need to start considering now. Join Justice Dems tonight to learn more. Join our call today with Ocasio 2018. Oh my gosh, dear Lord, they're going to put this woman front and center 2020. Oh, it's lots of entertainment anyway. It's good entertainment. It's good entertainment until she gets in, and then that's not funny anymore. I mean, it's all good for a laugh. It's all good. But, when your mom was saying, don't run with that, you'll put somebody's eye out. Well, that's kind of the warning that I want to say with her. Like, she shouldn't run. She's going to put her eyes out. Anyway, there you go. There's more about her, but who really wants to hear it? I don't. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to call it a night there, and I might come back with another one, or I might not. And I don't know. I'll have to see how much news I have left over. Nobody likes leftovers, so I might take a look, and if I have enough to do another video, I will. But if not, I'll just leave it and come up with fresh news tomorrow, because nobody likes leftovers. So anyway, there you go, and I'm going to call it a night here, and I hope you guys are all doing well, and we'll talk to you again real soon, either tonight or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Good night.